Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. I told you guys I'd be talking about this evening. I was teetering on whether I should just wait till tomorrow morning to talk about this, but you know what? I was like, you know what? I need to talk about this right now. We need to get into this conversation, and there's some real stuff that's going on around the world. And I've told you guys a million times before, I talk about everything on this show. It's not only just missing persons, unsolved mysteries and true crime. I talk and pop culture. I talk about everything that matters, everything that I feel that you should know on what's going on in your neck of the woods and outside your neck of the woods. And this, to me, speaks volumes to me. Speaks volumes. And I think it's incredibly important that we know what the hell is going on here and what's going on outside of this, outside of the country that you live in, or if you currently live in Iran. That might be a different, this might be old news for you. But I found this to be quite an interesting piece of information and an interesting story. And I felt like we should get on here and talk about it. And I know not everybody and their mom is going to want to watch this show or care about this particular subject. But I think this is, like I said, an important piece of information. I feel like we're always so wrapped up on like, oh, Kim Kardashian is getting sued by the SEC. You know what I mean? We're so focused on these other things, but we're not seeing the other things that are going on in the world. Really important things that are happening. There are some serious, unjust crimes and unalivings that are happening in Iran right now, and especially towards women. And I'm telling you right now, I felt compelled. I was like, you know what? Nope. No. I need to talk about this right now. Oh, and also let me say this too. For those men that are stepping out and speaking against this as well, speaking on behalf in solidarity with these women that, of course, are protesting out in these streets, men are actually getting taken as well. People's lives are being snuffed out in the middle of these streets. No lie. So, honestly, I'm okay if this is a low-viewed show. I get it. It's not everything. It's not something that everybody really cares to listen to, but you should. And I'm going to kill this music. You should care, because this could literally happen in your neck of the woods too. Just saying. This could potentially happen in your neck of the woods. I know, majority of us live in this country, okay? But at the same time, religious freedom, human rights, etc., are in play right here in Iran. Their freedoms do not exist. They wake up every single day and have to follow specific rules. And if they do not do so, they get arrested, or even worse, their lives are taken. This is some serious stuff. And I think that this is something that we need to talk about. I got other stories. There's a lot of other missing person stories and stuff that I will be getting on in a later show, but we got to get into this conversation. So do me a favor, because I want this story to get out there, all right? Because we talk about everything on this doggone channel, all right? And it frustrates me that if it's not about Kanye or Kylie Rodney or Debbie Collier or any of these other big stories that are have to do with missing persons, it just gets thrown in the dirt, and it's frustrating. This is also an important piece of information here, period, that we need the rest of the world to know what the hell is going on out here in the Iranian streets right now, and it's insane and it's dangerous. And I'm praying for those people out there. And I feel like the only way I can do this is by showing support, is by spreading the word and telling this story. And there's a lot of stories to be told. And it also starts with the story of one young woman, which we are going to get into very, very shortly. So do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Send it past as many likes as we can get on this particular show, because I get it. Okay? But this is important too. So hit that like button down below. And please don't forget, if this is your first time checking out this show, hey, I do talk about these things too. Things that matter, that are going on outside of the country. Certain unjust things that are going on around the world. I do cover those things. Maybe not as often, but I do talk about them. So please hit that subscribe button as well. I talk about everything on this show. All right? Because I care. All right? So let's get into this, shall we? Now, there's a lot of things that are going on in Iran right now as we speak. Women all over the country are pouring out into the streets. They are burning their hijabs. They are cutting their hair. Lots of women are coming in solidarity in protest against the morality police. Now, you might be asking what the morality police is. We're going to get into that very shortly. But this whole thing gets started. Whole thing gets popped off because of this one young woman by the name of Mahsa Amini. All right? This 22-year-old girl, this 22-year-old woman was allegedly wearing her hijab loosely. So a little bit of her hair was being shown. And out of nowhere, they grabbed her, they took her, they detained her. Apparently, they beat her viciously when she was detained. And after a few days, she died. Because she succumbed to those injuries that she obtained from the police. All because her hijab was just a little loose. Hair was showing in a way that apparently the as they call it, the morality police were not okay with, which to me is mind-blowing to me. So let me get into this story real quick, okay? And into this article. So it says here, of course, who is Mahsa Amini? Because she is the one, her passing sparked this gigantic movement. Protest, you can basically say a revolution. Iran might be looking at a whole other revolution right now. It's wild, it's empowering, and we have to talk about this because it is crazy. So the young Iranian woman, Mahsa Amini, whose death in police custody triggered worldwide protests. Worldwide, I'm telling you, there are women out here all over the globe cutting their hair live on stage during press conference, etc., just in solidarity to this situation all over the world. Okay, that's why this matters. This is an important story. So please share if you can. All right, like, share, do whatever you can. People need to know what the hell is going on out here. All right. So Mahsa Amini was a shy, reserved resident of a small town who never challenged the country's clerical rulers or its Islamic dress code, sources close to the family said. Amini, from the northwestern Kurdish city of Sakez, and pardon me if I'm destroying these names, okay? Like I said, this is all new to me too. But she died 3 days after she was arrested in hospital after falling into a coma. Now, what's interesting is that they are saying that her passing was her having pre-existing conditions, and that's why she like had a cardiac arrest, fell into a coma, when there's other people that believe something else more sinister happened to this young woman. But let's continue. So they say she obviously died falling into a coma. It sparked the first big show of opposition on on Iran streets since authorities crushed fuel price protests in 2019, in which 1,500 people were unalived. Authorities deny hurting Amini and insisted in a statement that the cause of her demise was sudden heart failure, possibly from pre-existing conditions. But the family has denied the 22-year-old had any previous health issues. Now, what's interesting to me is, let's be real, the people who know you the most, the parents that brought you into the world, that bore you, wouldn't they know if you had pre-existing issues, pre-existing health issues? So you're telling you saying the family's making this up? You think the family's lying? I'm just saying. They savagely hurt this woman. That's what I believe, and that's what a lot of people believe. Hence the protests. I mean, he minded her own business and steered clear of politics. Two sources close to her family said. Traits that most Iranians hope would keep them out of trouble in this Islamic Republic. But on September 13th, Amini would pay a heavy price for not paying attention to every detail of her clothing as she and her family visited her uncle in Tehran. Now, what happened to Mahsa Amini? She wanted to live a normal and happy life, as all people do, right? She was arrested as soon as she stepped out of a train station in the evening. Amini was suddenly confronted by the morality police, a force tasked with detaining people who violate Iran's conservative dress code in order to promote virtue and prevent vice. Which basically means that if you wear anything off, if you don't follow code, if you don't follow this dress code, you are going to get into some serious trouble. Most of this is focused and aimed toward women, because Iranian women are not supposed to be going outside in the public with their hair shown, with their hair uncovered. They must be covered. They must have a hijab over their head when they walk out in public. Now, from what it seems like, she had a little hair that poked out of this hijab, and they got her. God knows what happened. She could have been asleep, woke up from the train, from her trip, realizing it's time to go. She got up, didn't realize it was off a little bit. Anything is possible, okay? Or she just didn't know. Anything is possible. And yet, this woman steps right outside the train and they got her. Morality police. Again, so that you understand, a police force tasked with detaining people who violate Iran's conservative dress code in order to promote virtue and prevent vice. Very important information here. Welcome to the morality police. So if you are going against any type of code, it could be anything. It could be within their code. It could be a tiny slip, like it seems what it sounds like with her. A tiny slip that she made. She's detained, and now she's no longer alive. Why? We still don't know. Hence the reason why there is protests out here in the streets, in Iranian streets, and around the entire globe. Let's completely be real on that too. The typical unit consists of a van with a mixed male-female crew that patrols or waits at busy public. Whoops, where did it go? Sorry about that. Let me say that again. The typical unit consists of a van. So this is what the morality task force, I guess, is. The morality police is. So it's a typical unit consists of a van with mixed male and female crew that patrols or waits at busy public spaces to police non-proper behavior and dress. So these guys are walking out in randomly. They're hanging out at public places like the town square, whatever, parks, a train stop, you name it, they're there. And they're perusing around, looking, lurking, trying to see if they have done something wrong. Now, what this Jerusalem Post has said is something different. They're saying her crime that she committed was wearing tight trousers. What? I've heard different stories. I've heard that her hijab was loose, but still, no matter what. So she was wearing tight trousers? According to this article. Can somebody math the math for me on this one? So suddenly that's ungodly. Suddenly you are not promoting virtue. Suddenly you're going against the dress code because of, allegedly, according to this article, because of tight trousers. That's insane. Amini and her brother begged for mercy, saying they weren't familiar with the rules in Tehran. So she went from one city, one town, into another that enforced these particular laws. That's crazy. It's like going from leaving Chicago, okay, wearing Air Force Ones, and then you show up to Minnesota, you step off that train, and they go, "We don't allow Air Force Ones here. I'm sorry, you're going to jail." And then later on, you die because of that. That makes no sense. And you're going, "I didn't know these laws. I didn't know that these laws existed here. My Lord, please give us a pass. I'll change my sneakers. I'll stay. I will change them right now. I will kick them off right now, as long as I don't have to go to jail." And still, nothing happened. She was begging her brother not to let him take her. Her brother waited in front of Vazara, Morality Police Detention Center for her. But after 2 hours, an ambulance arrived to transfer her to a hospital. The family eventually found Amini at the hospital. So doctors kept the family in the dark. Loved ones had no access to her CT scan. What? But these are different rules, different country, right? This is unjust, though, in my personal opinion. In the coroner's office, her body was covered in such a way that her father could not see anything except a small part of her leg that was bruised, the sources said. He kept begging doctors to brief him about his daughter's condition, but no one answered him, said another source. Women who were arrested along with Mahsa told her father that she was beaten inside a van that was transporting all of them. She was crying and pleading with the police to let her go, the father was told. The police told the father that cameras in the van did not function. How interesting. How convenient, don't you think? So the family does not know what happened inside the van and at the detention center as well, said one of the sources close to the family. They do not believe They do not believe in the video published by authorities that shows her suddenly falling at the police station. Her family believes that the video was edited. Okay, so yes, there is a video, which I'm hoping we're going to see a little bit of it here in a little bit, because I got some news clips and stuff I'm going to show you guys. But even in those, you just see somebody dressed collapsing on the ground, and that could be anybody. Doesn't show her face, doesn't show anything, except this is a person standing there wearing a hijab and collapsing to the ground. Like I said, it could be anybody. And then if you really think about it, all the other points here, CT scan, they wouldn't let the family see her CT scan. Her body was completely covered. They weren't allowed to really see and observe her body. They asked for more information. The father asked about his daughter's conditions. No one answered him. Doctors were stopped from being able to say what's up and what's going on with their daughter and what could have caused her death. I'm telling you right now, this sounds very familiar on some the certain stories we hear on this part of this country, in this country, okay? A lot of stories where it's like, oh, the security cam footage didn't work at that time when this thing happened, or this person was detained and was ended up losing their life in the back of a van. But we don't have any surveillance footage for that. Fiddlesticks. Sounds very familiar. And this woman was just wearing, allegedly, what they believed as tight pants. Or her hijab was a little loose. Either one, they had a problem with this. This is insane. So, what the heck? This thing likes to jump on me like this. So they believe that the video was edited, and it could be anybody, okay? In an instant, she would be robbed of her dreams of one day getting married and having children after finishing university. She wanted to live a normal and happy life, one of the sources said. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has said he had ordered an investigation into the case of Amini. Officials said 41 people, including members of the police and a pro-government militia, had died during the protests. But Iranian human rights groups have reported a higher toll. Amini's death has drawn international condemnation, while Iran has blamed thugs linked to foreign enemies for the unrest. That is crazy. Okay, Tehran has accused the United States and some European countries of using the unrest to try to destabilize the Islamic Republic. No, this is something that happened on your soil, and they're trying to find any excuse under the sun because, of course, there's still people out here. You got to think it's almost like the conservative. Okay, it's like a conservative versus, it's like a conservative regime versus the liberal. And they're trying to say, oh no, all this unrest, because let's just say people who are fighting against this conservative regime that is based on what they deem as devout and chaste in a way within these codes. They're going to sit there and say, oh, because there's an upheaval. Oh, no, it has to do with everything else. We're going to point at everything and not actually look at the source, look at the actual problem, which is this young woman passes away in the hands of the morality police that were pushing an agenda that was wrong, that was way over the top, shouldn't even exist. And now we have a young woman who's no longer here because of violating a dress code. This is not a woman that stepped out and was wearing lingerie. This was not a woman exposing herself in public. This was a woman fully clothed, minding her business, coming into town to see family. And now she lost her life because of a dress code violation, or what they deemed as a dress code violation. But of course, the Islamic Republic is going to do everything they can to try to point the finger at everything else so that the people who are supporters of this morality police, this way of life, can sit there and stand on that side of the fence and have those excuses leaked into their brains as this being proof positive of why there's so much unrest and protest in the streets. When you have mainly women out in the streets burning their hijabs and cutting their hair. Just saying, do the math. Do the math. I beg of you. But let's continue. I actually got a super chat. Let me get that really quick. I am so sorry. This thing is crazy. And I give these women, the people who are out in the streets right now protesting, especially the women who are standing together and protesting as one unit. I give you all mad props, and I'm praying for you guys. I'm sending nothing but positive energy in that way so that you guys stay safe, because I can only imagine how dangerous it is out in those streets right now, protesting on something that is unjust, protesting against something that is unjust. And what's sad is that there's going to be many people that are going to be losing their lives over this. It's unbelievable. But like I said, I talk about a lot of things on this show. Okay, guys. And this one really did tug at my heartstrings, and it really did grab my attention. And I'm sitting there going, why don't people know about this? Ain't nobody talking about this. Why ain't nobody talking about this? This is happening right now. People are doing this. People are dying in the streets right now for this. Why are people talking about this? Don't get me wrong. We'll be talking about Will Smith and Kanye West losing his mind. You know what I mean? We're going to be doing all that all the live long day. But I'm like, damn, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. So please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Send it past as high as you can get it. And don't forget to crush that subscribe button, baby. Okay? You know your boy is working hard out here in these streets to give you the stories that you need. And this is a story you really need to hear. We got a super chat. Thank you, Infinite Content. I really do appreciate it. I really appreciate the $5. I appreciate it. $5 foot long. All right. Anyway, now I want a Subway sandwich. Damn. Anyway, just don't eat the tuna, because apparently it's not real. But moving on. All right. Pascal, this has been an ongoing issue in Iran for decades. Yet certain people in the U.S. want this nation to be run by a conservative theocracy. I'm just saying. Yes. And I do agree on that as well. And yes, this is an ongoing issue for sure. But now it's almost like this pot has been boiling for a while. And it's been percolating on the stove. And it's way past its boiling point. And now it's finally just went off. That's what I think. Let me fix that. I've got it. Thank you guys for the heads up. But again, this is important. And it explains a whole lot. So let's continue on here. So, of course, the president, the Iranian president did issue investigation into this. Berenice, thank you so much. Berenice Rivas, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. All right. But, of course, I already said all this. Far removed from politics, Amini's family is still trying to make sense of her demise. Her mother insists that Mahsa's hijab was proper. Okay, so they're saying that it was her trousers in the beginning of this article. Now it's back to the hijab. And I think, and that's why everyone's burning their hijab. That's why everybody's cutting their hair in protest, because apparently her hijab wasn't on properly. It wasn't on tight enough, allegedly. So during the funeral, she was repeatedly saying, why? My daughter had proper hijab and her coat was long and black, but I don't know why she was arrested. Where's my daughter? Where's my child? She repeats every day, said that sources close to the family. A statement on Instagram from the hospital, which was later taken down, said she was brain dead when she arrived there. Yeah, because she was attacked in the van, brutalized in the van. So when she arrived to the hospital, they're saying she had no brain waves, no brain function at all. Resuscitation was performed on the patient and her heartbeat returned, and the patient was admitted to the intensive care unit, the hospital said. But unfortunately, after 48 hours on Friday, she had a cardiac arrest again due to brain death. In spite of the medical team's efforts, the medical team could not revive her, and she passed away. Now, the Iranian authorities have told Amini's relatives to avoid speaking about her case. What? Said the two sources close to the family. Her father, mother, and uncle do not answer their phones. This is how crazy and how hardcore their regime is, that they will go to you and say, you better not say nothing. You better not squawk about this, because no freedoms, no liberties at all. None, zero, zip, nada, zippity doo-dah over here. So of course the family's not going to pick up phones or speak out about this, that they're going to stay quiet, because they have their lives to protect and their families' lives to protect. There are men and women out in these protests that are getting unalived in the streets. There's zero dams. They give zero dams about the human lives of the Iranian people right now. They're just straight taking them out and taking some into custody, and we still don't know what has happened to some of these people. It's terrifying. And this is the world that the Iranian people, this is what they live through. And this is what they're going through right now. I got a couple things I wanted to show you guys, some news clips and whatnot, because, yeah, I have to cut in and out of this, of course, because, copyright stuff. And of course, this is Good Morning America. You know how it is. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do what I got to do. Okay. But again, please be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate the support. Let's get into this.
Now to Iran, where the government's violent crackdown on peaceful protests is now in its 18th day. One human rights group says at least 133 people have been killed so far. Hundreds have been arrested, mostly young people, since the death of a 22-year-old woman in the custody of the country's morality police. As Roxana Saberi shows us, it's Iranian women who are front and center of the protests.
Unprecedented scenes in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Schoolgirls across the country flouting the law, some uncovering their hair, many even chanting death to the dictator. Calls for freedom are also spreading across universities. Everyone is out on the streets, this college student said in a video message on condition of anonymity. We have to keep going. They can't arrest all of us.
Now, this is what's like, as you can see, these are all people that are coming together and they're flipping the bird to the establishment, basically. Now, and I know that there's a lot of people out here that will sit there and go, well, that's their religion and, they should be respecting it and blah, blah, blah. Well, listen, there's a level of respecting a religion or respecting certain traditions or a way of life. And it's another way. And it's another to have things being held against you. It's another to restrict you from being able to express yourself, the freedom to express oneself, the freedom to be an individual, the freedom to say if they want to wear a hijab, they want to. If they don't want to wear a hijab, they don't have to. If they do or they don't, it doesn't matter. Those are certain liberties that we take a super advantage of here in this country. I know we have a lot of other issues that we deal with, okay? But at the same time, there's certain things here that you can see. They make one small misstep, and that could cost their life. And again, most of this is towards women. Most of it. Let me continue.
Young people under the age of 25 appear to be fueling the protests, despite the regime's harsh crackdown. On Sunday, security forces besieged Tehran's elite Sharif University, where students had been protesting peacefully. The student union said armed plainclothes agents chased students down in a parking lot and brutally arrested several of them. Eyewitnesses said the ground was covered in blood.
That's insane.
Think that by using force, a brutal force, they can be in power forever. But of course, they're wrong.
Maziar Bahari is the London-based editor of Iran Wire News and a former political prisoner in Iran.
So how is this young generation different from previous young generations in Iran?
My generation and the generation after me, we gave the government the chance to reform itself. But this generation can see that this government, the Islamic Republic, cannot be reformed. So this government has to be ended.
The Islamic Republic has been around for 43 years, and many young Iranians are fed up with the global isolation and severe sanctions imposed on their country. Our problem is not with Islam or religion. We just want people to live as they like in Iran and not be jailed for it. Please hear our voices, she adds. Help us in...
Sorry, guys. This thing is being very, very jittery today. But you get the general idea there. Okay? Clearly, there's a lot going on in these streets right now. There's a lot of Iranian people that are losing their lives in protest, trying to go against this regime, trying to go against this morality police. And it's just terrifying to think that these are things that actually exist. And because, as Infinite Content mentioned, and I appreciate him bringing this up as well, is the fact that this is all within or underneath a theocracy. Okay. And the thing is so that you guys know what that is, it's kind of surprising that this even exists. But let's take a look, shall we? What is a theocracy? A system of government in which priests rule in the name of God or a god. Okay, so let me say this here too. Theocracy is a form of government in which one, or more deities of some type are recognized as supreme ruling authorities, giving divine guidance to human intermediaries, who manage day-to-day affairs of the government. In other words, they basically can tell you what you can and cannot do. They can create a dress code and say, hijab, not so tight pants, do this, that, and the other. Head must be covered. Women's heads must be covered whenever in public, so on and so forth. And if anyone retorts, anybody tries to challenge it, they say, well, it's not from me, it's from, we got these rulings from. I was appointed by, and what said is that whatever I say goes. Interesting, right? So the Commonwealth of Israel, from the time of Moses until the election of Saul as king. Theocracy. That's crazy. Another one. What is a simple definition of theocracy? Theocracy, government by divine guidance or by officials who are regarded as divinely guided. Like I said, he appointed me, so therefore what I say goes. And of course, there's a bunch of men that have come up with these specific rules and regulations, all the way from dress code and then some. In many theocracies, government leaders are members of the clergy, and the state's legal system is based on religious law. Now, I understand like religious law. I mean, obviously, I was born Catholic, okay? But, and of course, we all know for the most part in this Western civilization about, let's just say, thou shalt not kill. I'm wondering what's going on here with these innocent men and women that are out in the streets, mainly innocent women that are out in the streets protesting against this whole thing, that are also getting their lives taken. Don't they have something in there as well saying, hey, thou shalt not? You know what I'm saying? Just asking for a friend. So it's just very interesting to me and heartbreaking. Okay? Absolutely. Absolutely heartbreaking. But here's some more here. Iranian schoolgirls show regime leaders the finger and chant. You see that right there. Can't even say that out loud, unfortunately. But while female celebrities and politicians cut their hair off to support uprising. So we're just going to blaze through this really quick. But as you can see here shortly, they're removing these kids, schoolgirls are removing their headscarves, showing regime leaders the finger and chanting what I just said earlier and what you heard in that news clip, while female celebrities and politicians cut off their hair in support of the uprising. The protests are sparked by the demise of Mahsa Amini. She was 22 years old, by the way, who was pronounced dead days after Tehran's notorious morality police detained the Iranian Kurd last month for allegedly breaching the Islamic Republic's strict dress code for women, specifically for women. Anger flared at her funeral and spread to become the biggest wave of protest to rock Iran in almost 3 years. Despite the backlash by the security forces that has unalived scores and seen hundreds arrested. And as you can see right here, kids are flipping them the bird. I don't blame them. I do not blame them. And you can see right here, women are coming out and celebrities of all types are coming out and saying, hey, I ain't with this. Like you got Juliette Binoche, you have Marion Marion Cotillard. I don't know who that is, but I mean, she has a familiar face, but I know Juliette Binoche. I mean, Blue Velvet. If you ain't seen Blue Velvet, you need to go see Blue Velvet, okay? Shoot, that is like a classic David Lynch movie. But Juliette Binoche, all right? And of course, this is Mahsa Amini again. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate you. Appreciate you holding it down. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Of course, I'll just play this a little bit.
For freedom.
There it is. There it is. Another one. I'm not going to play the music, unfortunately. But this obviously is showing a bunch of people getting together and saying, hey, boom. Pretty cool stuff that these women are all coming together all over the world and are touched by this story, moved enough to do this. And this is something that needs, like I said, it needs the attention. It needs channels, other channels to speak about this, because this is a serious situation. And I know it's not popular news, okay? I know it's not popular news and all that stuff, but at the same time, this is a very important piece of information that a lot of people need to know about and know that this is what's going on out here. Again, shoot, I got another video that's coming out, a pop-up video coming out here after this show, and has nothing to do with this, okay? Absolutely nothing to do with this. But I know that we're so conditioned to be focusing on these other things, but not really seeing what's going on out here in the world, going outside of our own little bubble. And I felt compelled to talk about it today or tonight, again, because this is important information. So some of the girls are shown to have removed their headscarves and are holding them above their heads while making the gesture with their long hair draped down their backs. Meanwhile, many actresses are coming together in support, cutting their hair in support of the protesters. The video was released on Instagram and hashtag Hair for Freedom. Protests in Iran and other countries, including Turkey, Lebanon, and France, have seen women cutting their hair in a show of solidarity. And so, of course, as they are doing as such, and I commend any person that is coming out here and going against the grain right now. I got a little bit more for you guys, so you guys get a little bit more understanding of what's going on here as well. Hold on. This thing likes to trip. There we go. Let me do that again. Stop. Like I said, my computer's a little sticky today, so sorry. And I appreciate all y'all for being here, watching with me and all that. It shows that you guys really care and that you guys like to think and see and hear things that are going on outside of the box. I really do appreciate y'all rocking with me like this. It does mean the world to me. Really, it really does. Don't worry. We'll be talking about other regularly scheduled programmed conversations in the next show, but this was important.
Continued in several cities across Iran against the death of young woman in police custody. A human rights group says at least 83 people have been killed in nearly 2 weeks of demonstrations.
As long as It's been nearly 2 weeks since Mahsa Amini died in police custody in Iran, and protests are far from over. Iran human rights and Norway-based groups said at least 83 people have been killed. Her death has sparked global anger, leading to protests across Iran and all over the world. Despite the increasing death toll and a fierce crackdown by authorities, videos posted on Twitter show demonstrators calling for the fall of the clerical establishment in Tehran, Qom, and other major Iranian cities. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has said the unrest was the latest move by hostile Western powers against Iran since the Islamic Revolution in 1979.
The Islamic Republic's red line is the security of the people's life and property. We cannot in any way allow the trespassing of the life and property of people and for people to want to disrupt the security of society.
Germany's foreign minister said on Thursday she wanted the European Union to impose sanctions on Iran in the wake of Amini's death.
I'm doing everything I can within the EU framework so that we can start to impose sanctions, especially now, while we keep on negotiating on the JCPOA to impose sanctions on those in Iran who ruthlessly beat women to death in the name of religion, who gun down protesters.
In Norway, many people tried to get into the Iranian embassy in Oslo during an angry demonstration where 2 people were injured, Norwegian police said. In London, formerly detained British-Iranian aid worker Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe filmed herself on Wednesday, cutting her hair in support of protests in Iran over Amini's death.
You know, what I just love about all this is that people are really getting moved by this. And there's people on this side of the world, nowhere near Iran, that are speaking on about this. I mean, not many YouTube channels are talking about this, if any YouTube channels are really talking about this. I mean, I've seen like The Daily Show cover it. You know, Trevor Noah talked about it briefly on his show, on The Daily Show, but I have yet to see anyone really talk about this. And I feel like it was something that was really important for us to listen to and just be aware of, because it all sparked from a family losing a young 22-year-old woman by the name of Mahsa Amini, all because of how her hijab was draped over her head. It all started because of that. A woman who unjustly lost her life because she violated, according to the morality police, a dress code that they implemented only when she stepped off of the train. This woman pleaded for her life. She begged, her brother begged. She did not want to go to jail. She did not want to get arrested. Why, you may think? Because you know for a fact she knew exactly what was going to happen once she got detained. And guess what happened to her? Exactly what she expected. And that's what's so tragic about this. Then on top of that, the fact that the powers that be are trying to cover this, cover what actually happened. How she passed, what happened the moments before she took her last final breath. This is the reason why women and men are out in the Iranian streets right now protesting, burning hijabs, and flipping the regime the bird. There are other people out here that have been taken as well, that were out in protest. Apparently there is a pop singer that made a song about freedom in Iran. Apparently that gentleman is no longer here. Well, you know, he has been taken. No one knows where he is. Apparently there's another Iranian TikToker that disappeared as well when she spoke up and spoke out against the Iranian regime and against this morality police. People don't know where they are. They've been detained and they're gone. All because they spoke out. You know, it's funny because as much as we sit here, we live in this really crazy ass world, you know, and yes, our country's insane. Our country's absolutely insane. Let's just talk about America real quick, okay? Because I know some of y'all are in other necks of the woods that are not in America at all. And I'm going to tell you, we're crazy. America's crazy, okay? I mean, we've been seeing this a long time. We've been talking about it all the time, okay? This country's going to hell in a handbasket, okay? Let's be real. But there's one thing that we do have for the most part: freedom of expression, freedom of a religion, freedom of speech. And a lot of these men and women that are in Iran right now that are speaking against this, simply making a song about freedom, and they are coming up missing just because they speak out. It's terrifying to think about this. It's terrifying. But I hope that by us talking about these things, bringing up these conversations, having these conversations, that may not be the popular video, may not be the video that you want to watch. Nonetheless, these are the conversations that need to be had so that everybody knows what's really going on. Even my dog concurs. And hopefully we can get Iran closer to being a safer place for women to express themselves with their clothing, to express their religion, how they want to express their faith. Not living in fear and wondering if they're wearing it right or wrong. I do want to say to Mahsa Amini's family, my condolences, my prayers go to you guys. May she rest in peace. And may her family really get justice. But I feel like it's going to be a long time coming. And it won't happen without the many men and women that are out in the streets right now in Iran fighting for freedom and justice. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. I really do. Thank you. Again, I know this is not a popular video. This is not a popular conversation. I know a lot of people some people just don't care. Man, do I wish you guys would care. But nonetheless, for those of y'all who do care, I appreciate you for watching and listening. Please do me a favor, share this video if you can. Let people know what's going on with things that are going on outside of this country. I got so many other stories we need to talk about that are dealing with other countries, even my family's country. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. And of course, we got to talk about the stuff that I have been talking about as well, which we will talk about, of course, as well. All right. So don't fret. But be on the lookout. I do have a pop-up video coming up to you guys very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled. And I know that some of you guys are not getting the notifications when I go live or whenever I upload. So please click that notification bell, like turn it off and then turn it back on. Sometimes you just gotta reboot the thing. You know what I mean? Give it a little jolt. All right. And again, one more thing, please go to pascalmerch.com. I do have 20% off of every item in the store right now on sale, 20% off till Friday night. So please go check out pascalmerch.com. Go get yourself some hoodies like this one, the favorite hoodies, and many, many other things like the DV awareness hoodie and t-shirt, the suicide awareness hoodie and t-shirts as well. We are still selling them as we speak. So go get something and get it all over your body. Okay. Anyway, it's time to get going, guys. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. Send it past whatever. Doesn't matter. But I appreciate it, and it helps get this story out here. And, of course, do not forget to crush that subscribe button, guys. All right? Be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family anyway. It is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. I love all y'all. Appreciate you guys rocking with me tonight. Be on the lookout for my pop-up video, which is coming up very shortly. I'll see you guys soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.